Climate change could be irreversible by the year 2030, unless we all do something about it. My name's Henry Kelly, and in this speech, I will be discussing the three main areas in which carbon is emitted into our atmosphere and what you can do about it. I'm qualified to talk about this topic because in high school I was involved in the environmental club. The largest sources of carbon emissions in the world are food production, household emissions, and transportation emissions. Now let's take a deeper look into how our planet is being slowly killed by carbon emissions. First, I'd like to start off with food production emissions. Agriculture and land use are the biggest producers of greenhouse gases in food production. Cows and other livestock release methane into the atmosphere constantly. Deforestation to make room for farming plots releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere as well. The abundance of fuel used in the farming process, in tractors and other large machinery, is also another way that gases are being released. Cattle waste emits nitrous oxide into our atmosphere. Shrimp farming is another powerful emitter due to the gases released when the mangrove trees are cut down to make room for the shrimp farms. An article released by the University of Michigan stated that food production emissions consist mainly of CO2, N2O, and CH4, which result primarily from agriculture practices. All three of the chemicals just listed are all greenhouse gases that are bad for our planet. The management of food waste is also a cause of greenhouse gas emissions. Production of packaging for the food is also harmful to the environment. What can be done about this? Shifting to a plant-based diet is better because the production of plants causes less greenhouse gases to be emitted into the air. Consuming less saturated fats and going to the store and only buying what you need to minimize food waste. Using sustainable recipes that can be found online and shopping with reusable bags instead of the plastic ones that you receive at the store. Consuming chicken instead of beef is much better for the environment because beef emissions per kilogram is over 7 times greater than the emissions for chicken. Now that I've explained how carbon is emitted into the atmosphere through food production, I will now talk about household emissions. According to the Nature Conservatory, the average carbon footprint of an American is 16 tons. Each kilowatt produced of electricity is 0.822 pounds of carbon. Quoting the Center for Sustainability at the University of Michigan, coal releases 2.3 pounds, petroleum releases 2.1 pounds, and natural gas releases 0.9 pounds. The cooling and heating of home amounts to almost 40% of the energy use in homes. Also, there's a direct correlation between wealth and carbon emissions. Wealthier people tend to live in bigger houses, which release even more greenhouse gases and use even more energy. Households in extreme climates use more energy because of the heating and cooling needed to sustain their environment. Refrigerators in houses is one of the biggest culprits of energy consumption that can be found in households. Construction of new housing is also adding to the carbon emissions in America and all over the world. What can be done about this? Many steps can be taken to slow down the carbon emissions due to households. Avoid products with excessive packaging that is just going to be thrown out and sent to a landfill, and try to use less hot water. Swap out your shower head for one that uses less water. The most conventional shower head puts out 2.5 gallons a minute, which is not necessary, and it's better for the environment if you swapped out your shower head. Another good thing you can do, like the shower head, is purchase energy-efficient products for your home like light bulbs that don't use as much energy. You should heat and cool your home smartly and wash your clothes with cold water. I will now move on to the final big emitter, which is transportation emissions. Cars and trucks emitted 0.9 billion tons of carbon in 2020. The average car releases 0.77 pounds of CO2 per mile driven. In 2019, transportation accounted for 33% of all carbon emissions in America, according to the U.S. Department of Transportation. Air travel is another big contributor to transportation emissions. Air travel emits 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide per year. Railroad travel is also a factor in transportation emissions. International shipping emits plenty of CO2 as well, but what can be done about this? Using mass transit systems instead of driving your own personal vehicle is very helpful. Vacation close to home so you don't have to fly, and do not order things internationally because it's very bad for the environment for them to be shipped overseas. Although it is not practical, buying an electric car is a good step to get rid of your transportation emissions. Driving the speed limit also uses less gas, so it saves you money and will also save the environment in the long run. And bike or walk when possible. On that note, I've covered the three main emitters of greenhouse gases into our atmosphere and what we can all do to slow them. I hope you walk away from this with knowledge that you did not previously have. Thank you for your time and have a great day.